I wanna grow weed in my backyard. I'll do it right, it won't be hard to keep the neighborhood kids from finding out. I'll build a fence so high. I wanna grow weed and you will see it's good for our security. They say the drug trade benefits the terrorists, so why not just grow your own? I wanna grow weed like Washington, just like he did at Mount Vernon. He even separated males from female plants, it's written in his diaries. I wanna get high. I wanna get high, and the law should comply with me. I wanna grow weed, it's just a plant. The stupid government says I can't. They'd rather I get hooked on prescription drugs or drink myself to death. I wanna grow weed and you will say, hey, that smells good, will you smoke a J? You'll find that I am most hospitable. To not would just be rude.
It's Samir!
Hey!
Samir! You've got my carrier pigeon!
Hey, fellas!
Samir,
Yeah.
weren't you singing a song?
I wanna grow weed, I must confess, it's my pursuit of happiness. I got no medical condition to relieve, I really just wanna get stoned. I wanna get high. I wanna get high, and the laws should comply with me. I wanna get high, I wanna get high, and the law should comply with me. Let's all get stoned!
Morning, Chili! Hi, Corey! It's a beautiful day on the farm, isn't it, Tomato? Well, it sure is, Nana. What's that?
against a democracy.
We've learned that Iraq has trained al-Qaeda members in bomb making.
Saddam Hussein certainly has chemical and biological weapons.
We want to make sure we have the highest level of transparency.
I take the Constitution very seriously.
We were attacked from Afghanistan.
But we don't torture people.
I'm talking Ghost of Tonkin. I'm talking JFK. I'm talking 9/11. That'll never go away. God, I wonder what they put in the water. I'm talking your genocidal slaughter. I'm talking about a one-world currency. I'm talking about the banks running everything. I'm talking America Incorporated sold down the river in 1913. Your government is lying. Your government is lying. Your government is lying. Your government is lying. Your government lies. When there's no one worth voting for, every politician is a whore. The problems never go away. You don't pay attention anyway. Cause some rock star said it's cool. He just laughs, you play the fool. Or another corporate shill. When it's you that pays the bill. Why should you vote? They're gonna rig it anyway. The fix is in. Come election day. For the lesser evil of the two. Every one of them is screwing you. For a suit with some power hair. That gets paid to pretend he cares. You can't believe the media. Or the people that you elect. When supporting the status quo is a national train wreck. For another Democrat, for some Wall Street fat cat, or another Republican, or another company man. There's no transparency. There's no legitimacy. It's all a joke, you see. So I vote.
And cut. That's Rick. Good show, my brother. Yes.
So happy Thursday. Welcome to Creative Chaos, the show that is dedicated to shining the spotlight on fascinating people creating fantastic things outside the mainstream. And I've got a filmmaker tonight. We don't often get filmmakers because everybody's like comic books, comic books. But I like to, kind of expand our horizons and have other independent creators on here as well. I know you guys all loved American Bandit last week. So we'll see if our guest tonight can hold a candle to her, and I'm sure he will. So thank you guys for being here. I saw in the chat Michael Ferraro and Doc Blaylock checking in with a Heidi Hose. And then over on Pilled, I've got Ghost Pepper checking in as always. Hello, Ghost Pepper. Good to see you. All right. So now you know what the show's about. And it's time for me to bring out my wonderful co-host, the Batman.
Howdy, 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 everyone out there in Foxhole, D-Live, Rumble Land. Hi.
Hi. If you're in Rumble, say what's up, you guys. We rarely get Rumble chats.
So wait, where's Vulcan Live? Vulcan
He
Live.
literally just popped into chat saying, good evening, everyone, including you, Batman. In fact, we recently opened a DM over on Twitter, me and Vulcan Lives, and you were you wanted to make sure that he knew about our FAFO party, right? And I had to let him know, and he super appreciates you for thinking of him. Ooh.
Yep, I muted myself. I don't know how I did that, but No, that's
I
great. Very
I
good.
had, by the way, I had Ghost Pepper question. Ooh, what happened to my camera? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, you're back, but you keep freezing on me. Go ahead.
But is the sound better?
Yes, much.
Okay. Anyway, I'm
You were
happy
saying?
you back in your home.
Yeah, I'm in my house now. I mean, the ex-wife's not here. I just finished dinner. I got laundry in the machine. It's a little chilly in this house. I should turn the heat on, but it's supposed to be springtime. It's like 50 degrees outside, and
Dude,
the temperature's dropping.
it's crazy because we've been saying that because it's been raining in Southern California in May.
Yeah,
And
it's
we're like,
crazy.
where's the heat? And then
Well,
next month we're going to be crying because it's so hot.
you got to remember, it used to be when we were kids, April showers would bring the May flowers. Now,
Yeah.
because of the way the rotation of the Earth cantilevers back and forth as it's spinning, we're going through this slight change, and New York gets rain in May instead of in April. And pretty soon we'll be getting rain in June instead of May. And it's just the way the Earth rotation happens. There's no conspiracy here. It's just the way the Earth rotates.
Okay. That works for me.
Okay.
Hey, Bruce, I got to tell you, thank you so much for coming to our launch stream on Friday night last week. We opened somewhat strong, for Flip City not being a huge name in the independent creator crowdfunding market. And I wanted to just kind of show everybody that's watching tonight our crowdfund page and ask you kindly to go support us. So we
Absolutely. And not only that, but you got to remember they should like, subscribe, and ring that bell here on Foxhole, Rumble, D Live, wherever streaming platform you're watching us on tonight. Like, share, subscribe, and ring that damn bell. And if you're on pills,
nice.
hit that red pill.
I like I like how you synced up with the little visual we got there.
Works for me.
All right. Vulcan, thank you so much for dropping the link in the chat. And we're going to take a look at the campaign right now. So, this is the Flip City Magazine Volume 25 campaign running exclusively on Fund My Comic, along with what we try to, because we do have our own store and we do have our own subscriber base. There's a couple of benefits and cool things to us crowdfunding. As far as our rewards go, we make packs that are not available anywhere else but our crowdfunding. So we've got a ketchup 6-pack and a ketchup 4-pack, along with, of course, our magazine. You guys, the barrier to entry for Flip City is so freaking awesome. It's $13 and free shipping in the United States. And we try to keep the shipping of that individual magazine international as low as we possibly can. So free shipping, 13 bucks gets you volume 25. That is going to be going to print within the next couple of weeks and in hands not too much longer after that. We are taking the shit out of DC and Marvel with Simperman, a parody of Superman, and we're goofing and gagging on Silver Surfer, and then also doing a parody of the Bear. We've got all kinds of other extras in there. We've got our guest stars of Made by Jim Bob and Joey B. Tunes. We've got comic strips. We've got the world's most based crossword. We've got one page recurring cartoons. We've got all kinds of fun stuff. Really, if you haven't checked out Flip City Magazine, we'd love for you to go over and support our campaign on Fund My Comic. And the way you can find that is fundmycomic.com/FlipCity25. Oh, yeah. Because we're really bad at making trailer videos because we're focused on publishing a quarterly magazine. I do have a reusable down here at the bottom. You get to see what our readers say and other notable people. It's called Same People Love Flip City Magazine. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you can actually watch a video about Flip City as well. So Thank you so much for listening to me talk about the magazine that I love like a baby. It's my little paper baby. And go check it out. What's up, Bruce?
Um, I I did sign up with the campaign, and you did get the address for the person I'm sending the magazine to, right?
If you put it in the thing, or was it your address? Because I haven't looked at all my donations yet.
No, I put their address in, but I put a little note. And is the note for you or is the note for the person?
The note will be for me.
Okay.
I can't if it's a note for the person and it's obvious. I will put in a free postcard with the note on it.
All right. Just a gift from Bruce Wayne would be nice if you
Okay.
remember.
I
But,
will I will remember because I'll see your name.
yes.
All
The
right.
other thing is, whatever was the results from the draw stream that you guys had, the drawing contest you guys had,
Oh,
reflections.
thank you so much for calling me out for not actually featuring that. We'll feature it next week, but the winner was Brie Cut the Cheese Larson. That was
And which
winner of
picture was Breeze?
it's literally a piece of cheese. A piece of brie cheese won the contest. We'll feature that next week, you guys. That was done by Quentin White. So I will update you on the draw stream contest next week because hold on one sec. I gotta check my calendar. We'll have one more creative chaos before the new topic for the draw stream is announced. So
Got it.
it's perfect timing for me to tell you who the winner is and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we can even get Q in here to accept his really offensive certificate.
That'd be great.
All right. Well, Bruce, are you ready to meet our guest tonight?
I can't wait to meet our guest tonight. I was totally blindsided by his story and really caught me off guard. So I'm really like amazed and impressed about who we're about to interview today. So let's bring him in, please.
All right. Well, Derrick Wayne Mullins, he's a writer, director, and producer of short films with a his feature film entitled The Warrior, streaming right now on Amazon. And I think we're going to talk mostly about that tonight. So let's take a look at the trailer, and we're going to meet Derrick Wayne Mullins on the other side.
Was God hating?
What happened? What happened?
I don't know. I was doing dishes. He came outside. We couldn't. He passed out. I don't know.
Open this door! Larry, this please help him.
I can't help but think what this is doing to Derrick.
What do you mean?
All the surgeries and operations. Like, what's that gonna do to him?
Hello.
Hi, Derrick. I got distracted with the chat because I've already watched the trailer.
Nice.
Well, good to see you. We met on another stream way back.
Yeah.
I just want to say what's up to Dragon Stage. I have never seen that name in my chat before, so hello.
Howdy to you, Derrick. Thank you for joining us this evening.
No problem.
Sorry about the dog barking in the background.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, somebody just walked in the house and I can't let him out of the den.
That little jerk interrupting our show. I kid. But so Derrick, why don't you tell everybody I basically like to do a quick kind of elevator pitch of what projects are. So we're, because we'll get deeper into it through the thing. So tell everybody what The Warrior is about.
Okay, so The Warrior is a drama. I could get into a whole big story, but basically I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia when I was 2.5. It's just 1980. And back then it was a death notice. The survival rate for a child with that type of cancer was low. And over the years, they've figured things out if they can catch it early enough. And I wanted to write. Everybody always just says, "Well, it's just another movie about cancer." Everybody's always writing stuff about cancer. So it's like if I'm gonna write something like this, I want it to have some realism to it. I want to show the struggle between the parents and the child, and what cancer actually does to a family. So I wanted to show that in the movie, and I think I think I did it pretty successfully. Where it's like, yeah, the little kid has cancer, but what it affects and what it does to families, I also wanted to show that. And I've got some really dramatic parts into it, and I got some really funny parts into it because I had to kind of cut some of the dramatic stuff with a little bit of humor. So it's like it was real important for my parents to have that I have a somewhat normal childhood going through all of this stuff. So I also wanted to add that into the movie. So it's got some really sad parts. It's got some really fun parts, and pretty proud of it.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that you worked fun parts into your cancer story because, that to me, I would think is a barrier to entry for many people. Like, oh, kid with cancer. I don't know. This is like almost, if not worse than Dog's Dying movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have to ask, Derrick, if you don't mind, how old are you now?
48.
God bless you, man. From 2.5 years old to 48 years of age.
Yeah.
And has there been any I mean, it's totally in remission, completely
I went
gone?
into remission when I was like 9, and I'm getting older, so slowing down. But I can definitely tell that like long-term effects. It really hasn't like. I wake up real stiff sometimes, and stuff like that. Which I imagine some of that stuff is getting old, and some of that stuff is all this when I was a little kid, all the stuff that I went through. But so far so good. Got the fingers crossed.
Amen. Good to hear that. Very
Yeah.
cool.
And hey, one thing that we like to also do near the beginning of the show to get to know our guest very, very quickly is our very first segment that is hosted by Bruce, and it's called Fanboy for us. Are you ready to fanboy? Say yes. You.
All right. So here's what we do, Derrick. We ask you some rapid fire questions, and we want you to not really think about it and just give us the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you to give us your favorite movie.
Oh, that's tough. I got a lot.
You're asking a filmmaker his favorite movie, I can imagine.
I'm a movie snob, but the ones I do like, I love. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, give us a couple. Rattle off a few.
Not your own. Not your own.
My own. No, Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile.
Yes.
Yeah, I like very character driven scripts and stories. So those two off the top of my head, I could watch a million times.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Your favorite food?
Pizza.
Had some for dinner tonight.
Sounds
Actually,
good.
the computer is sitting on the box to raise it up enough. Your favorite drink? Alcoholic or non-alcoholic, or one of each?
Favorite drink is probably, unfortunately, soda, Mountain Dew. Yeah.
Okay. Favorite character, any genre, TV, movie, comics, whatever. Favorite character?
Batman.
Oh, okay.
I like this guy
The
already.
Dark Knight movies are amazing. I can watch those a million times.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Favorite artist, any genre? Painting, ceramic, cartoon, comic, any favorite artist? We usually have comic book artists and comic book writers on the show, so you can apply that to anything.
We'll have to come back to that because I don't.
That's fine.
Circling back.
Indeed. What did we forget, Christy? Favorite band?
That's my favorite one.
That's another one. I got so many different ones depending on what
mood you're in.
When I was a little kid, it was Michael Jackson, and then when Licensed to Ill by the Beastie Boys came out, then I was a Beastie Boys fan when I was a little kid.
Yep. Big Beastie Boys fan too. Big Michael Jackson fan. So
now,
I'm right there with you.
Now, do you still listen to music, and are those in your playlist?
I still listen to a lot of music, mostly rock and roll, country. A lot of the modern stuff is not good, not good at all. So I'm still hooked on 80s, 90s, early 2000s music, country, rock and roll.
There's actually a newer artist out there that sounds like Beastie Boys a little bit, and I'm trying to remember his name. His first name is Vince something or other, and one of my other podcast buddies turned me on to him, and I can't remember the last name to save my life, but I will look for it and find it for you.
Cool.
And yeah, because I was a big Beastie Boys fan back in the day, and I'm still a Beastie Boys fan. My ringtone is Funky Monkey.
Nice.
Yes, we've heard that a few times on stream.
Yes, we have.
It's one of those things is when I was a little kid, I'm from Michigan, so Motown, my parents listened to Motown music, so that's one of my loves. Is like, Michael Jackson was part of Motown with the Jackson 5, so that's why I started listening to Michael Jackson. And then when the Beastie Boys came out, it was new. Nobody had ever heard anything like that. Especially when they're spinning records backwards and rapping to them, and I'm just like, what is going on? This is amazing.
And it's funny, they started out as a punk band.
Yeah.
And went into rap.
Pretty wild.
Check out The Sex Witch. Dragon Sage is recommending we check out a band called The Sex Witch.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to look that one up too now.
Well, you had mentioned that you like country, but you're not like that much into modern music. Now, do you like modern country? Because I like country, but old country.
Some like I like Wallen. Some of the other ones I'm trying to think that's like new. I can't think of off the top of my, but I like Morgan Wallen. Who's the one dude that does country, but he also raps? A big guy.
I don't know.
Jelly Roll.
Like
Roll's
I said,
okay.
I don't listen to modern country, so yeah, you're throwing out names.
Song by song, you know what I mean? So,
all right, is it time to circle back to favorite artist?
Artist.
I mean, would you consider like a director an artist, Bruce?
A what?
Like a film director?
Sure, why not?
How about
they're an artist in their own right. So, who's your favorite director?
Oh, well, Frank Darabont is one of them. He's the one that did the two movies I named. Plus, he did the first two episodes or the first two seasons of The Walking Dead. He directed those.
Oh, I do like the first two seasons of Walking Dead.
Yeah, it got out of hand after a while, but the first two seasons are great. The stuff with the governor and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, now it makes sense why I get the same feeling watching Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. I didn't know that was the same director.
Yeah. And then I like stuff like Seven. You ever seen Seven?
Oh, yes. I had
one of my favorite directors right there too.
Who's that?
I'm having like an old person moment where I can't think of stuff. I'll have to look it up. Give me a second.
I'm looking it up for you right now. David Fincher.
Yes, thank you. He did Seven. He did Fight Club.
Fight Club, Killers. Yeah. Holy cow, he's only a year older than me.
He started doing music videos and then switched over to movies.
Right.
Hail Dave, BTM Reviews, and Eccentric. I think correctly spelling the name in case anybody wants to look up the movie Seven. It's like that, right? With the 7 in the middle?
Yeah.
Correct.
For the 7 sins, yeah.
Oh, now I remember it. Yeah. It was a really good film. I have an issue where I don't remember if I've seen a movie or not until I start watching it again. I'm like, oh, vaguely familiar. It's called Early Onset Dementia.
I think I got that too.
You think you have that too? Okay, good. All right, I think we're done with fanboy for us, and it's time to dive into a little more of your story. So backstage, you had told me, and I think you even said live that you were diagnosed with cancer at the age of 2, and sounds like you battled that through your early childhood. And one of your main things that you wanted to do was kind of show more of the
Buddy.
how it affects the family and the child in particular. It's what I
Yeah.
got from researching it as well, your movie.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Well, not a lot. There's not a lot of movies that delve into that. Where when they talk about cancer, a lot of times it's underneath where there's another story going on. It's like, oh, the person has cancer. Oh, too bad. Oh, this and that. But it doesn't dig into a little kid who's real small that doesn't have an idea what's going on and is trying to figure out his world. His parents are trying to keep things together and are freaking out, but they're struggling, and nobody's ever really dealt with that as far as a story. And I was like I said, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it where I don't like making what everybody else does. So my movies are always going to be a little different, and I always put something in it to make it different. Because I don't want to. I just feel that if you force something, then you want to copycat something or do something that somebody else did, and it's like, no. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to be authentic with it. So that's what I did. And when I first wrote it, and then when we started, started production, it took us 10 days, and we had 3 or 4 reshoot days. Because a lot of times it's like I'll start editing, and then it's like, okay, there's something in between these scenes that has to happen, where it's like, so flow wise. So we would have to go back and maybe redo a scene, or as far as the flow of the movie is like, what in there can I fill this in so that it makes sense to the audience that's watching. So
Yeah, well, just kind of, I'm glad you said that it sounds like you were shooting for 10 days. I'd love to know, and I don't know if this is going to be a long, drawn out story, but abbreviate where possible, kind of your journey from having the idea to writing it to filming it, editing it, everything, like producing the whole movie. Like, I'm also interested to know if you found funding, all that kind of stuff.
So I funded the thing on my own. I got a bonus from work and my tax check, got some money together and said, let's do it. So I didn't do any crowdfunding. I didn't do anything like that. I funded the whole thing on my own. And I wrote The Warrior probably about 15 years ago. And, when you write screenplays and stuff like that, you're constantly rewriting something because you come up with something, another idea, and it's like, I want to put that in the screenplay. So you're forever editing it in your mind. So I wrote it about 15 years ago. I sent it out to some film festivals. I got a little bit of love on the film festivals for my screenplay. And I wanted to do some sort of project. It's like I knew I had money coming in. It's like, I'm going to do something. I'm either going to do a show, I'm going to do a movie, I'm going to do something. And I had people that I was reaching out to was like, dude, you need to make this movie. You need to make it happen. So it's okay, let's do it. So about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I said, okay, we're going to do it. So I'm originally from Michigan. I spent 30 years in Michigan. That's where I had cancer. I got my schooling done in Michigan, and I moved to LA because I wanted to work with people that were better than me. Like, I don't have all the answers to everything. I don't have all the answers, and there's things that I don't know that I want to learn. So I went to LA to learn from the best. And it's not a regret or anything like that, but I wish I had a mentor out there that I could have gained a little bit more knowledge, or just knowing that somebody, was a mentor to me. And I never really found that. It was a lot of times it was just get on set any way I could possibly get on set. So that's what I did. Is I did anything from transpo to PA to art design to crafty, any way that I could get on set and meet people, I did it.
Right. And is that often how Hollywood works? You want to do bigger, better things, so you go and fetch coffee for a while, and kind of work your way up, or make your connections.
I moved to LA in 2008 when the first writer's strike happened. So reality television show blew up because they didn't have to spend money on writers. They didn't have to spend money on unions. They didn't have to spend money on all that stuff. They could take $100,000 and shoot 12 episodes of a reality show, following somebody around. So it was a cheap way for people to get on set. And I worked at Lowe's Home Improvement in Michigan, and I transferred to the one in Burbank so that I had a job going there. And I was there for about 3 or 4 months and got that first phone call like, "Hey, we're working on this. You want to do it?" Yep.
Now, how that sounds like it's rather simple then.
Well,
if you're willing to do any kind of job.
Yes and no. Obviously, who you know is very helpful. I didn't know a whole lot of people, but I knew 1 or 2 people from Michigan that were in LA. So when I got there, I hit him up right away, and he's like, "Well, I don't have anything now, but if something comes up, I'll hit you up." And 3 or 4 months later, they hit me up saying, "I got something." Like, okay, let's go. So it's definitely who you know, but I didn't know a whole lot of people there. I just happened to know one person that opened the door for me.
Very good. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if you do any research into Mr. Derrick Wayne Mullins, you do find out a bit about your story. And that includes all the things that you worked on in Hollywood, which seems like it was a bit of reality television. Was that?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I worked on short films and other people's features and stuff, but I also worked on reality television, mostly for MTV, VH1, Viacom. Is where a lot of my stuff. I worked on Disney stuff. So I like I said, I got in where I could fit in, and I worked a day job, or I worked it was just like a 1-day shoot, and they had an actor who was like a B-list actor, and I didn't really get to see who it was. And I'm running around doing my thing, and I had a producer walk up to me. He's like, "You're not from LA, are you?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "I can tell." You actually do work.
Okay, I was like, did you press him?
Yeah, but it's one of those things the producers don't hire you. They hire somebody that's going to hire you. So you could be super cool with a producer, but it's not his job. His job is to hire somebody that's going to hire that person. So you better be on good terms with that person he hires, because people are very fickle. And if they don't like you, they ain't going to open the door for you. It isn't going to happen. And for the most part, I get along with most people, but every so often I rub people the wrong way. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe because I don't put up with people's, stuff.
Okay. Are you still in LA then?
No, I'm in Georgia.
Oh, you're in Georgia. Well,
Yep,
I
I've been
mean,
in Georgia
that's almost
6 years, 7 years.
Isn't that almost the new Hollywood?
Yes and no. Okay, so are they catering to the big productions? Yes, they are. Are they catering to guys named Derrick who spent a few $1,000s to make his movie? No. So like I had to use my experience to say, okay, this is the direction I want, and these are the props that I want, and these are the vehicles that I want, and everything else. And people try to BS you. Like in the movie, there's a scene where the main character collapses, and there's an ambulance that comes picks him up, and there's a whole dramatic scene about it. And you see part of it in the trailer. I reached out to one guy, and I was like, how much is it going to be for like 2 hours with an ambulance? $10,000. I'm like,
okay.
Are you being serious, or are you trying to lie to me? And he's just like very silent. And it's like, bro, like I worked in LA. If you did like 10 seconds of research, you would have found that you can't BS somebody that has been doing this longer than you have. So it's like, I have a lot of that stuff where people think that they can take advantage. It's like, bro, I've been doing this probably longer than you've been alive. In some capacity, you know what I mean? I'm 48, but I started, my schooling when I was in my early 20s. And then I started working as a PA and an intern when I was like 21, 22, 23. So it's like I got, almost 25 years of experience in the entertainment industry of some sort. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that in Georgia where people want to try to manipulate you, and it's like, bro, you can't. Yeah, I'm not the guy that you want to manipulate.
Right. See, and that's another good point is besides, the connections that you can make, working in the mainstream media, you're going to learn a lot of tips and tricks,
Yeah.
because it's a hands-on thing.
Mm-hmm. And you can't do much about people's day rates because they talk about the day rates and the page rates with the comic books and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff, people are pretty firm of what they're charging you for their time. But where you can save the money in is, like, for me, it's props, vehicles, walkie-talkies so that people can talk to each other. That type of stuff is you learn. When you're in LA, there is the price that they give for everybody, and then there's the friend price. So if you say, hey, I'm working on this, but I got this coming up, what can you do on the price? And they'll hook you up. So it's like, that's the type of stuff that you learn in LA, where it's like it's crazy how big the television and movies make it look, but it's very small. And a lot of people kind of know each other. And it's not necessarily, and it is nepotism, but there is, because it seems large on TV, but when you go there, it's relatively small world. So you don't want to piss people off. You want to be friends with people so that you can say, "Hey, I got this show going now, and then I got another one next week, and next month. I'll hit you up for that." Okay, cool. And then they'll be like, "Here, I'll give you $10 off each walkie or something." So it's like a lot of the negotiation and a lot of the price stuff I learned by gaining experience in LA. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure that does help, when you're trying to get prices saying, hey, I need this for now, but just know I'm looking for a good price because I'm going to do future stuff.
Yeah. But in Georgia, people, they don't want to work with you because they don't understand that type of thing. Yeah, it's the Hollywood of the South, but they're only worried about the big guys that are going to pay 40% or get a 40% tax break. So if Marvel comes here, little Derrick is pushed off to the corner. And it shouldn't be like that. For them to call it Hollywood of the South, they're not really they're not
being professional.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. Well, so I born and bred Southern California, but I live like an hour outside of Los Angeles in a mountainous area. And it is so crazy how much filming we see up here because we're the wilderness in Southern California.
That's funny. Like we're in Southern California.
If you know where Lake Arrowhead is.
Lake Arrowhead. Is it going
Lake Arrowhead, Big Bear?
Okay, yeah, Big Bear.
It's all the same mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never been to Big Bear because I'm from Michigan. It's like I didn't come to California to deal with snow at Big Bear. No, give me the heat.
Yeah, no, that is the thing. Like, we actually are a tourist destination because of the snow. It's like, oh my God, snow in Southern California. Let's go.
That's the one thing I do miss about living in California is that you can have the option to go to the ocean and then have 90-degree weather. And then you go 2 hours and you're in the mountains. And then you come over here and like there's so much to do and so much that you can literally within hours you're away from. So that was one of the things that I enjoyed.
Yeah, it's funny because like I said, born and raised Southern California, but I still haven't done it. But I know you can in a day. I want to do mountain, desert, ocean, city. And I think you could and have a really great day. I just need somebody from out of the state to visit me, and then we'll make it happen. You hear that, Bruce? You're invited.
Nice.
We'll make that happen.
I lived in Burbank for almost 5 years, and then I moved a little bit into the valley, like Northridge. And then I had a cousin at the time that lived in Moore Park, which is Ventura County. So I moved over in Ventura County for about 3 years. So yeah, I was in California for 10 years before moving here.
10 years isn't too bad, but I'm glad you made it out before it turned full on commie.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't getting bad when I was there, but I was getting passed over for stuff because of my gender, not necessarily because I couldn't do the job. Because I literally had somebody
And
be like,
your
"Oh,
race.
we're gonna hire this girl because she's a girl," and I'm just like, "Is she gonna unload the truck?" And they were like, "Well, no," and I'm like, "Who's gonna unload the truck?" So it's stuff like that where it was like, okay, this is kind of and I'm not gonna immediately judge somebody, but when you're taking money out of my pocket for that, then we got a problem because I got to eat too. So that's where I look at it. Like I'm not gonna judge them because they're different than me, but when you start taking money out of my pocket, then we got a problem. And that's what was happening is I was getting passed over for jobs that I rightfully earned, and it's just like, what is going on right now? Like,
Right. Hey, so I've got a chat that we're not seeing because it's over here on Pilled from Classical Chick saying her daughter is a senior in acting. I'm assuming that might be in college. No industry connections. Hard row to hoe. If you had if you had any advice for actors, even though that's not where you're at, as
yeah.
far as, like if there was somebody wanting to break in acting in the industry, do you have any advice for
Um,
them?
Local theater, get an acting coach. Acting coach does a lot for you. They'll open doors for you, but they'll also be your biggest fan, but also your biggest person that's going to critique you and say, yo, what you're doing right now ain't working. So getting a good acting coach and doing local theater and getting experience in the type of things that are going to support the genre that you want to work in. And let me elaborate a little bit, okay? If you want to do military movies, it would behoove you to know how to shoot a gun and make it look real. Or packing your backpack for survival, like having the knowledge, not necessarily living it, but having an idea of how to do it so that when it's on screen, you know what you're doing. You're not sitting there going with a gun like, I'm gonna get you, and it's like at least have the basic knowledge of what you want to get involved in. If you're going to do a dance movie, learn how to dance. At least take some dancing classes so you have an idea or the basic knowledge of what's going on. Because there's a lot of people that'll be like, you know how to ride a horse? Oh, yeah, I know how to ride a horse. And then all of a sudden you get on set, they don't know how to ride a horse. There's a lot of people that lie about that stuff. So, like, take those basic courses so that you have an idea of like the type of movies that you want to be in, and that you have at least a basic idea of how things work, and it looks cool. So if somebody knows a way around how to do a handgun, it looks cool on screen. Like, oh my god, they actually know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, like it looks cool on film when somebody has an idea of how to operate whatever it is.
Okay, interesting. And just kind of still on that same topic of actors, because I do know some people in the industry that are like, ugh, actors. Ugh. And so I don't know if you feel that same way. And what was your experience with the actors that you hired to be in The Warrior?
Now I do things differently than everybody else does because that's just me. I'm a weirdo. Okay. So a lot of people will have like they'll have a 3 hour block where they have actors come in and do read throughs for you. Okay. And in some instances, I will do that. It depends on what the project is. But for The Warrior, is everybody that I chose, I saw something that they did, or they're real or something. Because I wanted to see, what do they look like on film? What kind of presence do they bring to the because if they bring a good presence, they got a good attitude, they're in the right position when it comes to the camera. When the lights are hitting them a certain way, they know to turn into the lights. All these little things are important. So if I see that type of stuff on film, it's like, okay, they look good on film. The camera seems to love them. They speak well. they come across real. Like it's not like fake. Like someone's chasing me. You know what I mean? Like it comes across real. So everybody that I cast in my movie, I'd already seen something from them. So when I met with them and we did a read through, they could ask any questions that they had about the screenplay. Because I'm literally sitting there because we're doing a read through for the script. But I'd seen something that they did and what they look like on film.
All right, fantastic. Well, hey, we are about to go into segments, but don't worry. It's not all about me until the last two. We've got one more, and I've got a burning question for you. But I did want to get into mansplain. Okay.
Okay.
All right, you're going to mansplain something to me.
Talk with your hips. I said, shush, girl. Shut your lips. Do the Helen Keller and talk with your hips. I said, shush, girl. Shut your lips. Do the Helen Keller and talk with your hips.
We don't get that one often. All right. So, Derrick, I created mansplain because usually skin color and sex, we spoke about it briefly, makes people like you, I'd say one of the most hated people in Western culture. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yes.
I need to give you a platform. So, oh well. Sorry, I just had a beer delivery. I got distracted.
That's nice.
It was nice. Oh, and it's nice and cold too. All right. So you are on Amazon. And from our earlier conversation, I know this was super low budget. You said that you spent a couple $1,000s. I know you were able to rent an ambulance because I saw that in it. You hired actors. You filmed it. You basically, I'm assuming, did a lot of different hat wearing in this. But you're on Amazon. Mansplain to me how you get a small, independent, self-published movie on Amazon Prime.
Okay, so you go through what they call an aggregator. And in the comic book industry, they probably do the same thing. It's a fancy word for a salesperson. So I downloaded my movie to an aggregator. And then they take my movie and they pitch it to streaming platforms, channels, stuff like that. And New Year's, I had submitted it last year, like right after a couple days after Christmas. Amazon picked it up New Year's Day.
That was fast.
Yeah. I'm hoping that it goes on other platforms. The aggregator that I'm using isn't pushing it the way that I would like them to. So we might be having a conversation here shortly. But I go through a salesperson or aggregator.
Okay. Now, as far as an aggregator goes, do you pay them money up front and they push it, or is it like a commission type of thing?
Yeah, they get a cut.
Oh, okay. So not bad.
Yeah, it's like 80-20.
You get 80.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not bad. So, so they have an incentive to go out there and sell. Now, if you're using an aggregator, do you sign a contract where like you cannot now sell it yourself to anywhere else or publish it anywhere else?
No, it's open where they don't hook you into a contract. So I can go to other aggregators, which I've reached out to a couple of them and nobody really responded to me. So we'll see. But yeah, it's not a contract where I'm locked in.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I know DVDs are probably mostly dead, though there's also collectors of physical media. Do you have any plans to
I would love
put
to.
this out physically?
I kind of have to figure out what the cost would be. So I kind of have to figure all those things out, but I would love to do a physical copy of it. It'd be great.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. So anybody out there that wants to produce their own film, go get yourself an aggregator. Where do you find an aggregator?
Oh, it's just you talk to a couple filmmakers and they kind of push you and kind of give you the 411.
Okay.
So there's a couple guys that I had worked with in LA on a couple of their projects. So every once in a while, I'll just kind of throw a caress in their way and they'll answer it for me.
I'm sorry, what are you throwing in their way?
I throw a question in their way a little bit, and then
Oh,
they'll respond to me like, "Hey, go over here." Okay, cool.
I heard the word crust. And I'm like, wow, they're very hungry out there. Talk about starving artist, right?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well, that does it for Mansplain, and we're getting into. I know, always show viewer Levi Skeen loves this segment, and it's personally my favorite way to get to know our guests. Bruce likes the pop culture stuff. Me, I like to know how much of a conspiracy theorist people are.
Okay.
So we're gonna head into conspiracy corner
Okay.
and put you through the ringer.
I wanna live with a conspiracy girl. I could be prepping the rest of my life with a conspiracy girl.
Those weren't aliens.
All right, so everybody has a different reaction to conspiracy corner. Some people get very nervous because they're like, "Oh, I'm not a conspiracy theorist." But basically, my thought on being a conspiracy theorist is basically anybody that doesn't agree with the mainstream is now a conspiracy theorist. I mean, that's how bad things have gotten.
Yes.
Okay, so you'd at least agree with that
Yes.
statement. Good. Well, you're
I
gonna
agree with that statement.
you're gonna do fine in conspiracy corner in eccentric saying love this part and Vulcan lives, just to let you know, is saying your interview so far is very informative.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so we are now in conspiracy corner, but we have the wheel of conspiracy. So it kind of takes a lot out of your hands, and you're stuck with stuff. But we're gonna bring the wheel up, and I'm gonna explain to you how the segment works. It's super fun, and it's also why I love doing this show with creative people. So this is the wheel. It doesn't matter so much. Like for me right now, it's super blurry, but that doesn't matter so much
Okay.
because here's how the wheel works. You get 3 spins. You can choose to stay with the topic that comes up for your first or second spin.
Okay.
But if you do the 3rd spin, you're stuck with that topic no matter what it is, and you must speak on it. Occasionally, if I'm not, because there's some stuff on this wheel that I'm like, why did I put that on there? I'll give you a free spin. But that's up to me. Do you understand how the wheel works? You get 3 spins. You're
You
stuck
get 3
with the
spins,
3rd.
and you can pick whatever one. And then if you go to 3rd, you have to stick with the 3rd one.
Exactly. Oh, other cool thing though about it, and why I really love having creative people on, even if you don't know much about the topic, you literally can just make stories up
Okay.
about the topic. Because we're in conspiracy corner, it doesn't matter. All right, and we got Vulcan Lives saying, "Spin that wheel." Are you ready to spin the wheel, Derrick?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. All right, we've got voodoo / Santeria, which in my own mind, when I made this wheel, they're about the same thing. Kind of magic stuff.
Spin again. I don't know anything
All
about
right,
voodoo.
we're gonna spin it again. By the way, Derrick, I don't know much about any of these topics. Actually, I know much about them.
Oh, okay.
Bigfoot.
We can talk
my
a little
God.
bit about it. Yeah, we can do this one.
Okay, you're gonna make so many of my past guests jealous because they were wanting Bigfoot so bad. All right, we're sticking with Bigfoot. We're gonna talk about Bigfoot. What do you think? Real, fake? What is Bigfoot?
Now, I'd watched Rogan, and he had a couple experts on Bigfoot, and then I've watched some documentaries and stuff.
Okay.
And they're in the firm belief that it's some sort of species of like an ape. And I tend to agree with them. But the only thing that they didn't explain is how they they almost look like they're walking like a human. Apes don't really necessarily walk like a human, so they didn't really explain that. But I tend to agree that it may be some sort of ape.
Okay, some sort of ape, but it's still like people are mocked and ridiculed. So it exists, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think like it still hasn't been like captured and if it's an ape and things, I mean, do these people have like explanations why it hasn't been captured and studied or
Because I think 90% of the videos are faked. But then they'll actually get one that actually looks like some sort of animal, which brings everybody right back into the the conspiracy theory, which I think it exists. It's hard to believe every single documented something about it because some of them have been severely faked.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would agree with that as well.
Any understanding or any conceptual knowledge of teleportation of these animals, creatures?
I don't know if they teleport or not. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody was bringing that up. I forgot who it was. I mentioned it that they heard that
teleport?
They have some sort of teleportation that they teleport in and teleport out.
It's hard. I don't know anything about that.
The last one that I remember that was actually really convincing for me was the one that was sitting on the side of the mountain as the train went by and the woman videotaped it.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. Not recently, only within the last 2 or 3 years.
See, I always went toward animal because it's only located in certain places in the country. You don't see Bigfoot everywhere. It's like in the Appalachian Mountains, it's over in the west coast, some of the mountains in the west coast. So it's only in certain places, like an animal would migrate to certain places of the country. So that's why I always thought it was an animal, because it's not everywhere. It's not walking down the middle of the street.
Yeah,
He's saying portals, not.
What did you say? I forget.
I forgot.
Anyway, so we're not getting into portals tonight.
Teleportation. No, he said portals. Eccentric. I forgot his first name.
Kurt.
Kurt said portals. That was who it was. It was Kurt. I think Kurt was the one who touched on it. He talked about the portals, the Bigfoot going in and out of portals. Thanks,
right.
Kurt.
Yes,
if that is true, then why don't we have portals in the mainstream? Why can't we just portal like Scotty?
Listen, that's a different that is a different topic on the wheel that we did not spin on. Okay. I'm messing around with the chat now. And Eccentric is giving you props on your memory, Bruce.
Thank you, Kurt. I remembered the portals, but I couldn't remember your name. Sorry. My memory ain't that great.
You remember the important things.
Oh, come on. Kurt was an important guest.
I love Kurt. Which, by the way, he will be a future guest. Just because I have my calendar up. Let me see. He is going to be a Creative Chaos guest again on June 5th. So...
And props to the tinfoil hat, by the way. Props on the tinfoil hat.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's the only way to keep us from getting kicked off YouTube.
It is. It is how we can speak freely during Conspiracy Corner. And you know what, Kurt? Because I don't want Conspiracy Corner to like prematurely, end. What is the craziest conspiracy theory that you have in your own mind that is probably like between 95 and 100% true? Like, I basically want to know how crazy you are. You're being hands off with this Bigfoot thing. He's not going to answer me.
He's thinking. Give him a chance.
There's some rabbit holes I can go into.
Come on, give me one.
People be like, Why did you have this whack job on here?
No.
We go down lots of rabbit holes on
Okay.
Conspiracy Corner. Please
So
drop a bomb on us.
okay, so because of my past and basically having a near-death experience, there are certain things that I know are close by. We'll just put it out there. We'll just say that.
That's interesting. So you've actually had a near-death experience.
Because when I was a little kid, yes.
I kind of obsessively watch it, not obsessively, but like I get into periods in my life where I'm like, oh, I need to watch some NDE stories because they are
And
fascinating.
I don't like when in Georgia is different than when it's in California because in California, there's a lot of creepy stuff in California.
Okay, how do you mean?
Like there's graveyards that were basically they pulled the headstones and made them into parks. So you could walk into a park at 9 o'clock at night, and there's ghosts walking around, and they have like a little headstone that's just got people's names on it, and that's it. And that's in California because they back then they didn't have the same process as far as dealing with the death of somebody because California's been around for how long? When Mexico owned California, and before that, when other countries and territories had owned California. So there's a lot of freaky stuff in California.
Okay, interesting. Now, you absolutely can tell me, hell no, Christy, I'm not going into this. But if you wanted to grace us with your NDE story, I'd love to hear it. Your experience. But if it's too personal, I totally understand.
I did a bit of ghost hunting when I was in California.
Okay.
I met a couple of people. Everybody was like, let's do it. Let's do it. And I was just like, cool, let's do it. And I didn't have the understanding then that I know now as far as like I believed in ghosts, but not really because I'm one of those like until I see it, it's hard for me to say, yeah, it exists. So we went to a place called Linda Vista Hospital in Southern California. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And it's one of the most haunted places on Ghost Adventures and everything else. And we went in there, and I'm just like with everybody else with my flashlight, and I'm out, and I could literally feel something scratching on my arm. It literally was like it almost felt like a burn on my arm. And people are just like, "What's wrong with you?" It's like, "You guys don't feel that?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Uh-oh."
Did you guys film it?
I don't. We did, but because everybody's so freaked out, everybody's got their flashlight, and and I'm over here just like feeling stuff touch on me, and it's like, okay, you guys are not feeling the same thing I'm feeling. This is not good.
Did anybody else on that particular ghost hunting trip feel anything the same?
Not that I know of. But I had another weird experience when I was in Michigan. And Michigan during the summer is great. There's festivals every weekend. You can go to the lake. You can do all kinds of stuff. And we went to a festival, and I had one of these ladies that was she wasn't a palm reader, but she could also see ghosts and stuff. Okay, she would kind of give you like the stuff. And I'm a teenager, maybe a little older than teenager, and this lady's just like looking at me. She's like, if you want to know some stuff, give me a call. And she hands me a card, and I'm just like, what is this whack job? What is she talking about? But I found out all the stuff that she was talking about in California. And it's just like, okay, this is weird.
Interesting. Okay, I am going to interject my own ghost hunting experience in Southern California because I for a time lived in a really old city in California called Redlands, and it is super haunted. Like I met so many friends that were living in old Victorians that had been split up into fourplexes and duplexes and stuff like that, and they were all haunted. Weird stuff would happen all the time. But on this particular night, we gathered a group of friends to go ghost hunting and to go to a particular spot. Now, when we got to the particular spot, nothing happened, but the entire night was weird. I saw a child in Walmart riding backwards on somebody's ass. So they're back to back, and the lady's ass is so big that the child is riding on it. That then we walk out in the Walmart parking lot, and there's this grave digger looking guy, like what you would imagine a grave digger looking like.
Okay.
And we see him in the parking lot, and then we get in our car and we drive. We see him walking down the road 2 miles down the road. And we're like, oh, scary. And then the last thing that happened that night was a coyote ran in front of our car with a
Oh,
white
wow.
cat in its mouth. And we're like, so it was just a creepy night. And we didn't find any ghosts, but
It's
it was
hard
just
to
weird.
talk about it too, because people immediately, when you start talking about this stuff, they're like, this guy's a weirdo.
I don't know. I think maybe it's also the people I choose to hang around, but I feel like a lot of people are kind of woo woo.
Yeah. I had another experience on the Queen Mary. You ever been to Queen Mary?
Yes. Ooh, I caught a ghost picture on Queen Mary.
I did too.
An orb. You did?
Mm-hmm. I have it on picture, and people always try to be like, no, that's not it. And it's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I heard it talking to us. Like in the pool area and down in the basement. You ever been to the pool area?
Yes. I went. Okay, did you take the ghost tour? Is that what you did?
No, we snuck on like thieves. This was what, 8 years ago, so they can't get me for sneaking on there.
That's funny. Well, I don't know. I think they'd throw the book at you. You don't have enough pigment, sir.
Yeah.
For sneaking on.
Well, the pigment people wouldn't be there anyway.
Well, that's true. The pigment people.
I'm just saying, is all the ghost hunts we went on there's no folks of color doing it with us.
There is actually something to be said because of your experiences. They say that people who have experienced near death have an actual ability to see other things or feel other things that most people don't. You are more susceptible or more open to them because you've tapped into, the other world.
Like the veil's been lifted at least a little bit.
Yeah.
So I had to reach out to somebody that was in the know to as far as controlling it, because it was naturally happening and I didn't have anything to do with it. So I had to reach out to somebody, even though it seems kind of odd. Why I had to reach out to somebody. Okay, how do I close this up? How do I not make myself a beacon for everything coming at me? And they taught me how to do it. And since then, it's been a lot different, where I still feel stuff, but it's not as intense as it was.
Right. Yeah. You were there, so you've opened that door.
Yeah.
And it's been with you since you're 2.5 years old. So
yeah,
that is really interesting. I know another person who was on the other side for a little while, and she's very open and sensitive to spiritual energy from the other side.
Yeah.
She's like you. She's had to learn how to close it out or to control how much she filters in or allows to filter in. Yeah. So
but I was just like, I told the story about the lady coming up to me like, all like, here, if you want to know what's going on. And I'm a kid, like, leave me alone, weirdo.
Well, I'm sorry. Tell me again, though, what led up to that? The lady coming up to you?
We were just at a festival, like with rides and palm readers and, games and all kinds of stuff. And she come up to me, she's just kind of looking at me like
she out saw of the your blue? Energy.
She saw something. And I
saw your energy.
17, 18 years old, like, get away from me, weirdo.
Now, did you ever reach back out to her, or how did you?
No, because I thought I was too wigged out.
Right. So how did you come to figure out how to? You said you had finally reached out to somebody to help you control and to filter out some of that other energy coming at you.
It in some ways, like, I kind of knew, but I was always just kind of, I don't want to open that door. And then once I started going on ghost places and going to places that I didn't go to do a ghost hunt. I went in there and just kind of just felt stuff. Like when I was on the
Right.
Queen Mary, we went on a ghost hunt, but then I also worked on the Queen Mary on a show. And I'm locking down one of the doors so that somebody doesn't walk on our set. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I see an old man with like blue slacks on and like a collared shirt to my right. And I'm looking at him, and he just kind of walks and walks and walks past me. And I saw him like in my peripheral vision, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And then the person just kind of walked this way, and I'm like the spidey sense is going off. Like something doesn't seem right. I opened up the door as a closet.
Oh,
wow! So
So
he walked right into a closet.
He walked right into a closet, and he looked like an old man that's just walking around the Queen Mary. I don't know.
you guys, so I'm assuming you heard it here first on Creative Chaos's Conspiracy Corner that Derrick does indeed see dead people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
I want to or not.
I don't know if you had admitted this anywhere else live, Derrick. This is an exclusive.
And I just want to do a quick shout out to our friend Aaron Moriarty.
Yes,
who
I
has a
keep
show
popping
on
him
his
up.
own
Hi,
called
Aaron.
Truth Quest, and he had "I Left My Body and It Freaked Me Out" experience. So, yep.
I don't know that story. We're gonna have to have Aaron on again soon.
Come on back, Aaron. We'll have you on.
Now,
We should have Aaron on, but just
is he a willing participant, or did it happen and it freaked him the hell out? Because it's like, what is happening right now?
Aaron, answer that question in chat, and we will highlight that for sure. Because it seems to me, Derrick, that you have been bestowed some gifts that you're not too happy to have. And you're like, I just want to live the normal human life. Is that true?
I think it's a blessing and curse at the same time. That's the way I look at it. And I'm a Christian, so the good Lord gave me some abilities that freak me out sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know how I handle it,
because it's like I'm an unwilling participant, but I also understand like why it happened or stuff like that. So
all right. Well, very good. I think we're going to leave Conspiracy Corner, but I do want to talk about your movie a little bit more. So we have been dropping the link to, the Amazon. You guys go and pay that $1.99 or $2.99 to go check out The Warrior. But Derrick, I'd actually like to know a little bit more about your experience as a child, like having cancer and having to deal with it, because I know it's a major theme of the movie, but and how much that is written into the movie as real experience or, boosted for.
We had talked a little bit about backstage is like there's certain little like not visions, but little tidbits that I do remember. I just don't remember the whole thing. And some of the stuff that I do remember, I put in the movie where it was, because I'm a young kid and trying to explain to other little kids what's going on, and they're like, "Well, Derrick gets to leave school early. Why does Derrick get the special treatment?" And it's like, "Well, I wish I could go to school. Wish I could just leave and ditch anytime I wanted to." And it's like they didn't understand what was going on, and I couldn't fault them, but I'm a little kid who's embarrassed about being sick. So I wanted to have that in the movie. So I've got some of those type of things where the little kids are just they're not evil. I don't want to say that
like they're judging from a kid's point of view. Yeah. I totally understand.
From a kid's point of view that don't understand, and you can't explain it to them. So I wanted to have that type of stuff in the movie, and I dealt with a lot of that when I was real small, where it was like my parents had me lose my hair in the summertime because they don't want me to lose my hair when the school was going, because the kids would just be relentless. He's got cooties. He's dying. Why am I in the classroom with this kid that's sick? Am I gonna catch it? Like, I heard all that stuff as a little kid. You know what I mean? So then, my my mom, it was the one that took me to the hospital every day, and my dad went to work, and he did have, I want to say probably 6 months, maybe a year. I can't remember what the exact length was, where the company that he worked for closed the doors because there was a union dispute, and it was in the middle of me being sick. So that created drama with my dad because my dad was off to work providing, and his insurance was paying for all the doctor bills. And then all of a sudden he's got to worry about his job. And I wanted to put that in the movie. So I've got my dad basically is busy with providing, but he also is dealing with a union dispute. So I wanted to have it where, like, I didn't want my dad, and I talked to the actor who played my dad. And I said, I don't want my dad to come across like he's a jerk. Like, that's not my motivation. He's kind of oblivious of what's happening because he goes to work. He's worried about his job. He's worried about his insurance lapsing, so that, he's oblivious, kind of. So I have my when people watch the movie, they're just like, why does Larry seem like he's sort of a lame duck in the first quarter of the movie, kind of? Because it was like my dad was so worried about his job and making sure that money was coming in and his insurance that he was kind of oblivious. So I wanted to have that in it, where it was like my dad was kind of oblivious and in denial that his son is sick.
Right. Well, in developing the movie, actually, did you have those conversations with your parents of like how it was with them? Or did you just kind of all do it from your own memory as a child?
So it's in the movie. So so my dad is a guy that worked in a factory for 30 years and barely got out of high school. He doesn't really understand the arts. He's just not an artist person. He is go to work,
It's a dude.
come home, provide for your family, and
typical blue collar worker.
Typical blue collar worker. I get all my artistic stuff from my mom. Okay, like all of it. My dad he's just oblivious to any of that stuff.
Okay.
So, so I'm dealing with being sick and going to the hospital, and I called them bone marrow and spinal taps because I had a cancer of the blood. They would constantly have to stick needles in my spine to test the bone marrow. I'm 5, 6, 7 years old, and they're putting needles like this in my spine. My mom will literally have to sit on me, and she is just bawling as she's sitting on me, and I'm just like not wanting this to happen. And they would have to chase me around the hospital. I'd have nurses, doctors, parents, everybody's chasing me around the hospital, trying to get me on this bed so that they could take a bone marrow and spinal tap. And I'm 5, 6, 7 years old when this has happened. So I wanted to put that in the movie, but we didn't have like a long hospital to be able to do that. I rented a room and we used the outside hallway for some of the conversation. So it's like, well, we're going to have my character running around the room. So I have it where he's running around the room playing like catch and like he's trying to get away from everybody and stuff like that. So I have that, and that's also in the trailer where you see the little kid is like trying to go like this and they're holding them down and stuff like that. Like that actually happened. I'm a little kid when this is happening. So like I understand, and I'm also oblivious at the same time. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to figure life out, and life sucks right now. So I went into final remission after operations, all kinds of stuff. And I went in and out of remission. And they come to me and said, well, for the most part, he's cancer free. But when we introduced the chemotherapy, the cancer wants to move to different parts of his body. And we found cancer in his testicles, and they have to come out, and they have to come out right now. So I'm 7, 8 years old, finding out that I can't have kids for the rest of my life. That's not something a little kid understands.
I can't you know what even imagine.
Are you kidding me right now?
Right.
So I have a scene in the movie where the doctor's telling the parents, what's up. And then I have another scene where it's kind of like my parents are like, how do we tell him about this? He's a little kid. That's not something a little kid should be worried about. So I had that conversation in the movie. And then, so I finally had the operation. I went cancer free when I was about 9 or 10. And then my mom got sick of cancer. She got cancer when I was 12 years old, and she passed away when I was 14. She died of a form of lung cancer, and never smoked, never drank.
After all the battle that you went through and
Yes.
everything she had to go through.
Yes. So I literally saw my mom slowly but surely die, and I was like 13, 14 years old after going through all the stuff that I went through.
I was going to ask you if your mom and dad are still around.
Yeah, my dad is. He lives in Florida. My mom passed away when I was 14. And that would have been a separate movie in its own. It would have been another 2 hours. It'd been like a 4-hour movie. And I'm like, I can't do that.
It's part 2.
Yeah, I don't have the money. I don't have the resources to have another 2 hours of this thing. So I have it where the mom collapses and the Derrick character sees his mom down on the ground dead. So I wanted to have that reaction because I got to say goodbye to my mom, but I'm 13, 14 years old saying goodbye to my mom in a hospital bed. You know what I mean? So I wanted to have that reaction with the child seeing his mom's on the ground, passed away. So I wanted to have that reaction. So I have that in the movie. So I didn't get into too much of my mom having cancer, even though I kind of threw little hints in there. That she didn't feel right and all this other stuff. So I threw little tidbits in there to kind of say that, but it would have been another 2 hours. It'd been like a 4-hour movie if I put all that.
Oh, I'm sure. And you had a very limited budget, sir.
I mean, it could be The Warrior 2 and all that, but yeah, that's just that's another story. And it could be a sequel. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so that there was all little tidbits that I threw in the screenplay without completely making it a 2-hour more movie. So
I have to ask you, how old were you during or after you're going through all of this that you were fully comprehensive of what you went through? Because at 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 7 years old, you're not comprehending all of it. When did you come to the realization?
Probably 8 or 9.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, where 8 or 9, I kind of understood, and I didn't want to talk about it, and I didn't want to. There's a lot of stuff I didn't want to get into with people, because there were so many people that didn't understand what I was going through. I'm not going to explain it to everybody. And then my mom would be like, "Well, why didn't you go to this summer camp?" And I'm like, and it's in the movie, and this is one of the most times that my mom was really disappointed in what I said. And she's like, "Oh, this is a great summer camp, and everybody's gonna be there." And I was like, "Is it a normal summer camp?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, it's a normal. It's like there's not gonna be a bunch of retards in there, is it?" And she just kind of looks. She just kind of looks at me. And this really happened. I was probably 8, 9 years old, and I didn't want to be reminded that I was sick. So it's like if I go to a summer camp with a bunch of people that are also sick and handicapped, and it's like I don't want to be reminded that I'm sick, that I'm different. I've already went through 7 years of this. But as a little kid, how are you supposed to like verbalize that? I was embarrassed to talk about it. As an adult, I've learned to like express myself and everything else. But as a little kid, I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on right now.
But at 9, you were fully comprehended. Comprehended.
At 9 or 10 years old, I had a pretty good. I knew what was going on. I was old enough to understand that this, even though my parents tried to give me a normal childhood, it's not normal.
Right, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing too. If there were a couple words of advice to like adults or parents with children with cancer in their lives, what would you tell them?
I think the biggest, I talked about it a little bit earlier, is my parents trying to give me some sort of normal childhood amongst all this stuff, where we were constantly talking to the doctor of what I can do, and I played baseball, and I went to school, so we went on vacation once a year because we couldn't afford anything else, and even if it was go to the Holiday Inn and go in the pool, that was vacation. So my parents did what they could to make it kind of normal. And I have an older brother. He's 16 months older than me. But in the movie, he's not a character in the movie because every time I was at the hospital, my brother was away. It's like they didn't want my brother seeing me basically dying. So they're like, Larry, you need to go over here. So they would every time, not I wouldn't say every time, but most times, especially during the hard parts, he was at my aunt's, or he was hanging out with my cousin, or he was over here with his friends, or something to so that he didn't see that. So in the screenplay, I didn't write a brother character because my brother wasn't involved in some of it. So I met a kid that lives like down the street named Kenny, who's basically my brother and like the kids in the neighborhood. And he's the comedic part of the movie because he looks at the world like a 6 or 7, 8-year-old kid. You know what I mean? So it's like he's the comedic part that I needed. And it's like I didn't want to have my brother just kind of standing in the background, so I created a character named Kenny that's basically my brother and kids in the neighborhood.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. So, because I need to cut like a lot, because I mean it's drama, and people are gonna be crying and the whole thing, and I need to have something in there to kind of break it up a little bit, you know?
Yeah, well, and I gotta tell you that Michael Ferraro, I'm trying to find the comment, said that he is interested in catching this and reviewing it.
Oh, go ahead and do it.
Please do. Which, by the way, Derrick, I did scroll, in my research because that's what I like to do on Creative Chaos. Is know who I'm bringing on. I did scroll your Twitter feed, and I noticed you're reaching out to all kinds of Comicsgate, and people that are dedicated to, bringing forth like the independent shit that's being put out there.
Yeah.
And I feel your pain, first of all. And number two, I'm so happy to have you on to like give you a modest platform. Thank you to everybody out there that is watching this. But I wish you the best of luck to get on as many streams as you possibly can.
And that's what I've been doing is I want people to watch the movie, and it's a story about what cancer does to a kid. It's a story about a little kid trying to have a normal childhood and understand what's going on. It brings you up and down like a roller coaster, and I purposely did it that way. And people that have watched the movie, because there's a lot of people, they'll look at the cover and be like, it's a little kid with cancer. Watch the movie. Like, see the layers that's in the movie. So the people that actually watch the movie really like it. And I always tell people, just have some tissues available. Because it is a gut punch.
I'm going to need a whole box of tissues. I wear my heart on my sleeve, Derrick. I'm telling you now, I'm going to be bawling my eyes. I was sitting here wiping my eyes earlier when you were saying, about your situation, and I'm like,
I don't full on cry, but I definitely well up if something catch me. Oh, I well. But yeah, I'm never gonna be
I did want to ask you, are you still very close with your father and your brother?
Brother, no. I talk to him maybe a couple times a year. Me and him are not anywhere close to being the same people. It's like he's over there and I'm over here, and then we kind of meet in the middle every once in a while.
And with
your dad? My family.
And my dad, it's been kind of like this, but I would say probably the last maybe 10 years. I've been a lot closer to my dad the last 10 years than I did when I was in my 20s and my 30s. Because with my dad, we could always talk sports. Always talk baseball and hockey with my dad. Always. Because he's the one that got us involved in playing sports, is my dad. So that's a conversation we could always have. And I could call him up today and be like, how's those Tigers doing? Oh, they're not doing that great. You know what I mean? So I can always talk sports with my dad. But the last probably 10 years, we've gotten a lot closer. But it's still it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was.
Good.
All right. So regular family shit.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I did want, because we promised Aaron that we'd bring this up from Conspiracy Corner question about Aaron's experience, and he said, "I heard it on a radio show, how to astral project. It worked. I came out of my body, a round ball of nothing but everything."
Out of his belly. He came out of his belly.
I'm assuming belly button. Has anybody ever, like, I have to ask this because it is weird. Has anybody, like, dug in their belly button to get a thing out, and then, like, you feel like a feeling, like, in the middle of your soul?
No.
That happened to me a few
Oh,
times.
really? When I had my gallbladder out, they took it through my belly button, but that's about it. Because they suck it out from your belly button now. They don't actually cut you unless they have to.
Okay, I don't know what it is about people that have had, like, horrific experiences in their life, but they seem to be the happiest fucking people. And Derrick, you've been laughing all night.
I mean, I've had to find joy my entire life, and some people be like, "Well, Derrick's gonna do what Derrick does," and it's like they don't quite understand. They don't understand that I have to try to find joy, and I am a happy person. I've always been a happy person, even though all this crud is coming my way. I've always had like a very happy go lucky disposition, always have. But I had people when I was younger be like, "Derrick, you're just too nice." And then when I probably like mid 20s, late 20s, "Derrick, you're a fucking asshole." Because I like the good Lord gave me the ability to have the BS meter up to 15. I know when people BS me, I can read people like a book. And I think that might be because of the being sensitive to things, but people's mannerisms, I can read them like a book. And it's like, as a young man, I didn't like. I just kind of like whatever. But the older fart I get, I can read people. I can read them, and when somebody's trying to lie to me, I'm like, bro, like, like I wish you just would know what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But I've always had a happy disposition, even when life's ups and downs constantly. I mean, that's life. So
Yeah.
you have bad days. I have bad days, bad weeks, or whatever. But I've always had a happy-go-lucky disposition about me.
I try to keep a positive attitude around me, and I try to keep positive people around me.
Yeah.
So I understand that. Immensely.
What the hell are you doing on this stream?
I don't deal with like all the comic skate drama. I just laugh because that doesn't involve me. But when the drama involves me, that's when you see a different side of me. It's like,
Has it? Have you had
that over there?
Have you had comic skate drama?
No, I haven't. I don't.
Okay, good. Yay! I avoid that like the freaking plague.
But I will call people out from the big dogs to the small dogs. I'll be like, bro, like, stop lying right now. Like, stop it. I think one time, a couple weeks ago, I said something in the chat on EVS's stream, and he read it. Because I'm like, bro, you just need to stop it right now. Like, bro. And he had said, like, he read it, and then he had, like, some little comment to say about it. Because I don't know if he doesn't know me. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like, bro, I know when you're, like, stretching the truth just a little bit.
Yeah.
And this dude is a famous comic book artist, but it's like, bro, like, come on now.
I'm like, we do not talk about Ethan on this stream. No, I kid. Only because, like, I feel like evoking the name of Ethan is going to, like, bring in all kinds of ghosts, and I don't have my my tinfoil hat on.
But I mean, I got into the sphere watching EVS on Yellow Flash and Nick Rekieta and some of those other people. That's sort of how I got my introduction to some of these people. And yes, I'm a movie guy. I'm not a comic book guy, but it's kind of the same. You know, we're creative people, so I can relate to other creative people. And people are like, "Well, you're a filmmaker. Why are you hanging out with comic book people?" And it's different, but it's also the same. You know what I mean? Like
You're
creative
telling
people-
stories, whether it's via a camera or whether it's via a coloring book, a comic book.
Yes,
You're telling a story.
correct. We're storytellers. I tell people that my imagination is just, it's always been off the chain. Like I've always had weird thoughts in my head that I just, when I was a little kid, I'd be drawing and painting, but as an adult, I put them in screenplays. When I have all these freaking weird things, I got to write it down. Like, this is weird, but okay, I'm writing it down.
Interesting.
So let me ask you, what is your next big project? Do you have one in mind?
I have a couple things cooking in the old brain. But some of the screenplays I have are very big budget. And if I meet somebody that's going to help me make them, let's roll. But I don't want to compromise my ideas and tell me that you can't write about this because there's strings attached to the money that they give me. I'd rather be a low indie filmmaker if there's strings attached to that money. Sorry. Well, you can't talk about slavery. You can't talk about this. You can't talk about that. It's like my screenplay is about this. You know what I mean? Like I have a biopic about John Wilkes Booth. Of course there's going to be some slavery in it because it's about John Wilkes Booth in the South.
Ooh, interesting.
But it's one of those things it's very ambitious. So I have to think of some not so ambitious projects that I can dig my teeth into. And right now, true crime, cop and robber stuff is still really popular, especially on the streaming services. So I'm leaning toward doing something that is kind of dark, but sort of like a cop and robber type thing. Maybe has some mystery to it, Because I like character-driven dramas and deep stories. So I think something like that would be cool to delve into. But I'm percolating right now, so I don't have anything on paper at the moment.
Okay. Very good.
All right. Very good. And I think that's a perfect segue because, Derrick, I don't know if you know this, but anybody that comes on Creative Chaos is Flip City branded, and that comes with an invitation back to our party streams. And those are very fun or chaotic or weird. It kind of depends.
I'm weird.
All the above. All the above.
Yeah, right? You came to our last one, Bruce, so you know what it comes with. So we're gonna brand you, but it's not in a weird sex cult kind of way.
That's good.
And I do try to like put things together like that you will actually enjoy and engage with. So what I have for your branding tonight is Flip City Movies, and I put together a large swath of things that you can read. So basically, I'm assuming you can see your screen.
Yes.
All right. So this is Flip City Movies, and we're exposing you to movies that you never knew existed because we made them up. And we're going to bring up the list. I'm going to read them to you. And then you're going to choose one and read about the movie.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. I need to make my own screen big. All right. We got Amazon Planet, West Bank Stories, Superman, Into the Soyverse, Kill Bill 3, Epstein Fantasy Island, The Therapist, Sodomite the Movie, Die Hard on an Island, and Swatted on Christmas. Which movie that you've never heard of would you like to read?
Kill Bill 3, just because I'm a Tarantino guy.
All right, Kill Bill 3. Here we go. When you're done reading, you are branded.
Okay, it's a little blurry. Okay.
Yeah, it's really fuzzy.
Yeah, Cause also I'm
producer's
seeing the cause.
apology. For some reason, my OBS seems to be stuck in 480p tonight, and I don't want to reboot OBS in the middle of the show. So
Oh,
I
okay.
apologize
Well,
for the blurriness.
Is there a way to get him the
oh,
copy?
I
Okay.
see it a little better
Yeah,
now.
it's a little bit better. Okay. Okay. It went
Nope.
back to that blurriness.
I don't
Okay.
know how you made that happen, cause for 1 second.
Earth swollen out of. What is that? Was that neutral? Neutral fog after Microsoft founder. I don't know. And something. Bill Gates.
Founder and philanthropist.
Insane plans for mass vaccinating and climate control finally killed enough people to make it newsworthy. Gates
Ooh, this is bad.
unleashed something, then unleashed a horde of some
Mosquitoes?
something mosquitoes on the state of Florida.
Malaria-ridden mosquitoes.
Florida spraying micro parculets throughout the sky to black as the sea. Then, with no help from government, what is that? Vigilantes take to their
Interesting.
something about vigilantes and
All right.
what is it?
Guess what? Guess what? You. Oh wait, it's better now. Oh damn.
It doesn't feel like I don't know if you noticed that. Like all of a sudden, I popped into reading it normal, and then all of a sudden, what?
Hey, this is the joy of the live stream.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut it because like I feel your own sweat pouring out from my own armpits. I'm like, oh, that was difficult.
Like, what? What's going on right now?
Thank you so much. By the way, Derrick, you're officially branded because you tried. And I'm sure it went out live the same way we were seeing it, so everybody understands. And Vulcan Lives says, branding time. You're branded. We didn't make it all the way through, but that's the joy of live producing on the internet, right?
Yeah, basically.
And I'm so blessed to have Cosmic Grandpa to even run this shit, because it would have like probably not even shown on screen if I tried to run it.
All right. I think we need to find out the best place people can reach out to Derrick if they want to contact him.
On X, on Facebook, Derrick Wayne Mullins, Flick Story Entertainment.
One more time, a little slower.
No, I'm sorry. I have to correct you there, sir. On X, it's at Flix, Flix, Story, STORYENT. Not entertainment.
Okay, ENT. But yeah, X and Facebook are by far the best.
And they can find you on Facebook, Derrick the Warrior on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, just put The Warrior 2024 and it'll come right up.
And thank you, Vulcan Lives, for putting that out there. Appreciate you. For anybody who wants to catch this movie, and I do recommend you go watch this movie, this is the link right here on Amazon. You can see it on Amazon Prime, The Warrior. And it's the life story of this young man, Derrick, and his battle with leukemia and how he survived it.
And tell me what you think. Like, I'm an open book.
Very cool.
But like I said, people who actually watch it, like it. So
I did. By the way, Derrick, I did try to watch it, but because we're measly little comic book publishers. We have a budget, but I do have Amazon Prime, and I went I went to spend my credits, and then my husband told me, "Oh, I spent those credits on a Mike Barron book."
Oh
So,
no. I mean, it's Mike Berry. He's a legend, so.
That's funny.
yeah.
I'm hopefully it'll end up on Tubi. Hopefully some other streaming platforms would be great.
Reach out to Roku. Reach out to Roku.
Well, we're going to talk about this backstage, which brings me to this point, you guys. We are, besides all the Flip City Magazine streaming platforms that we're streaming to, we're also streaming to Madness Comic Network. And we are going to Roku very soon. And we're going to talk about this business stuff. It's super boring backstage, but I'm hoping, Derek, that there's some way to work in The Warrior to Mattis Comic Network on Roku because it's coming very soon, you guys. It's gonna be awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I want people to check it out. So any promotion I can do, any people want to watch it, whatever. Yeah, I'm totally down.
I think we need to have you on the Three Beer Men. Do you drink alcohol at all?
Not as much anymore. I'll do beer and pizza every once in a while, but that's about it.
You can have as much pizza as you want on that show.
And I'm a regular on a bourbon channel.
That is true.
That works.
That's pretty fun.
Maybe we'll have you on our show, Three Beermen.
Cool.
We do a show every Sunday night where we talk about beer, pop culture, and technology.
Cool.
Well, on that note, why don't you tell everybody where to find you and the Three Beermen?
So not only are we here on pill.net, the foxhole.app, but you can find us on the number 3 beer, BEER, men, MEN.tv. And you click on the button that says watch here, and you can see us on any of the platforms that are listed in that menu. And live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. And for those who also follow pill.net, this coming next week, what is it, the 31st, I will be a guest on Foxhole Squared. And our good old producer, Cosmic Grandpa, is a regular on Foxhole Squared. So come check us out there, pill.net, the foxhole.app. We'd love to see you in the chats. So come check us out.
Love Foxhole Squares, you guys. Like, I'm a big proponent and like pusher of people outside the mainstream doing entertainment streams.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of streams that we see are about like, oh, my beef with this, my beef with that, or I hate this, I hate that. And it's all about, like, I swear it's all a fucking psyop. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get my. Sorry, I threw my tinfoil hat way over
And I know
there.
people say that it's boring, but I actually like the streams when some of these big comic book guys actually dig in deep to their craft. I actually like it.
Well, I like,
but they
into
always
their
have around
craft.
the drama. It's like, bro, like I want to hear what's in EVS's brain or John Malin's brain. I want to hear that stuff, but for some reason, it's the drama is what sells every time. And it's like,
Have you checked out Chuck Dixon's show here on Pilled yet?
No. Mm-mm.
All right, we're gonna have to get you in touch with him. He does a show
Basically,
here.
Here's how I'm sorry to interrupt you, but here's what I see. There's a ton of independents out there actually providing solutions to the problem of like Hollywood sucking.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
there's people with the clout, you know. A person I follow and am friendly with call them clout goblins. I'm like, that is exactly what they are. It's like fear sells, solutions, maybe not so much.
I thought it was sex cells.
Well, I mean that too. And I've seen other people make a lot of good money off sex.
Well, because it's one of those things is like you'll ask me a question and then I'll tell you the reason I made this choice is because of A, B, and C. I never hear A, B, and C from these guys. I heard this person sucks. This person said this on X. It's like, okay. I want to get in more in depth of like why you made that choice in your comic book, or what direction you like to take your characters, or like how you decide what characters that you want to move forward with. Like I want to know those stuff, and they never say any of that stuff. People just say, "Oh, it's boring." It's like that's the stuff I like.
Well, but also on that note, there are those things out there happening. You just really have to dig and find them.
Yeah.
Because your favorite influencer online will likely not speak about it.
Yeah.
And it's just how it is at this moment in time. Not that it's not going to change.
You could poke the bear and ask for it in the chat.
I ask for it. I ask for it all the time. Right up the butt. Why did I say that? Oh, because it's a meme. Anyway, you guys, thank you. Oh, well, myself, by the way, both you fools got to talk about yourself. Myself, check out Flip City Magazine on Fund My Comic. Funding right now for Volume 25. Just go to go to fundmycomic.com/FlipCity25 and fucking laugh again. That's what our society is lacking. Is people laughing at things that are laugh-worthy.
And laughing at themselves, because people take everything so damn seriously. It's, yeah.
Thank you, Derrick, for saying that.
I can laugh at myself. Like, I don't know if you guys ever go into the BTM chat.
No, you've been doing it this entire night. You're laughing at yourself the entire night.
Like they'll be like, one of the guys is like, well, I'm not going to make fun of Derrick because it's his first day on here. And then like about a week later, he's like, well, I'm going to start making fun of him now because he's been on here for like a week. And then I'll give it right back to him. I'm like talking on the show, and I'm telling, I'm like putting in the chat, like making fun of them as they're making fun of me. It's pretty funny. Like Goody Two Shoes.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to hang out in BTM's chat more often to see who's taking the shit out of you, Derrick, while you're also doing the same to them. All right. Everybody, thank you so much, you guys, for being here. We have apparently 48 live viewers. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe. Come back next week, find out who the guest is on Creative Chaos, the show that is dedicated to shining a spotlight on fascinating people creating fantastic things outside the mainstream. Derrick, you've been a wonderful guest. Thank you so much
for having me. I appreciate it.
And this is where we wait. Bye.
Okay, class. List everything insensitive, exclusionary, bigoted, nationalistic, misogynistic, and offensive that you can find in history's great myths and legends. Extra points for suffering panic attacks or emotional outbursts. Fact check every opinion against the lived experience of your comrades and allies, so you can avoid forming a criminal opinion. Scrutinize it cover to cover. Wrongthink, misgendering, dead naming, misinformation, microaggressions. Leave no page unturned.